The world has been waiting for this event for almost a year. Western tanks are finally coming to Ukraine. After another meeting in the Ramstein format, the Allies nevertheless agreed to send heavy combat vehicles into battle against Russia.
With spring approaching, Ukrainian forces are working to defend the territory they hold and preparing for additional counteroffensives. To liberate their land, they need to be able to counter Russia's evolving tactics and strategy on the battlefield in the very near term. They need to improve their ability to maneuver in open terrain, and they need an enduring capability to deter and defend against Russian aggression over the long term.
But the West hesitated. The first is German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who did not agree to transfer the Leopard tanks for a long time. Moreover, the Germans at first doubted whether to give permission to other countries to do that. And according to all the rules, this is exactly how it should be. Not only the owner country, but also the producer country must agree to the provision of weapons. Ordinary Ukrainians decided to force Olaf Scholz to change this opinion. In January, they went to a rally in the Bundestag with the slogan "Free the Leopards." At the same time, a flash mob in the social media began to gain momentum. Ukrainian military, civil servants, showbiz stars and companies began to publish pictures in clothes with leopard print, and they wrapped themselves in blankets, held toys in their hands. In short, they did everything to spread the topic of leopards all over the world. For this reason or another, Olaf Scholz agreed to send 2 leopard battalions to Ukraine. At least that's what US President Joe Biden said.
Mr. President, why are you taking this decision now? Did Germany force you to change your mind on sending tanks?
Germany didn't force me to change your mind. We wanted to make sure we were all together. That's what we're going to do all along. And that's what we're doing right now. Thanks.
The United States itself will send 31 Abrams tanks to Ukraine for a total of $400 million. In addition, Great Britain, Poland, Portugal, Spain, Sweden, Norway, Finland, the Netherlands and Denmark are going to send tanks to the war against Russia. Those will be Leopards of various modifications and Abrams and Challengers and Stridswagens and also Soviet combat vehicles. The total number of tanks can reach several hundred. In addition, weapons manufacturers also want to help. For example, the German concern Rheinmetall is ready to transfer more than 50 of the latest German Leopards and almost twice as many units of older equipment. The first tanks are expected to be delivered to Ukraine in March. The Russians, of course, did not like the sending of tanks to Ukraine. They didn't like it so much that one of Putin's main propagandists, Vladimir Solovyov, began to threaten Germany with strikes on his territory. I think we need to send a clear and strong signal that we consider Germany a party to the conflict. And the appearance of German tanks will definitely lead to the fact that we will consider the territory of Germany, military bases and other objects as legitimate targets. NATO wants to make war in such a cunning way, pretending not to fight, but you failed. You failed. But all that Russia managed to do was another mass drone and missile attack on Ukraine. First they launched 24 Shahed UAVs at night, then a bunch of cruise missiles during the day. Most of them were shot down by Ukrainian anti-aircraft defense. At this time, the Kremlin begins to install its air defense systems on the roofs of buildings in the center of Moscow. The practice shows that Russian air defense is one of the best in the world. It's interesting whether the residents of Belgorod, Bryansk, Kursk regions and the occupied Crimea know about this. Probably they don't, because there the best anti-aircraft defense cannot cope with the airstrikes, and those strikes may increase in the nearest future. The fact is that the Turkish company Baykar recently finished testing a new strike drone. It is called Kizil Elma. It can carry 1.5 tons of a combat load, operates at a distance of almost 1,000 kilometers and can stay in the air for about 5 hours. It has the engine of Ukrainian production. Nothing is known yet about the transfer of these drones to Ukraine. But everyone well remembers how Turkish drones Bayraktar TB2 were destroying Russian vehicles. So why not test Kizil Elma right away on the battlefield? And if nothing is known about drones yet, talks about transferring of planes have already started. In particular, American senators are calling to give F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine. The company that produces these jets declares its readiness to increase production. And on the sidelines of the Ramstein, they are already talking about the fact that the next meeting in February will be an aviation one. The Air Force of Ukraine also hints that the planes that Ukrainians have been asking for almost a year, like tanks, will still come to the war against Russia. The issue of the aircraft supply is constantly raised by the higher military leadership of Ukraine, the leadership of the Ministry of Defense. This topic is constantly discussed by our representatives in the international circles. Our military pilots went to the United States, funds were allocated to train our pilots. The type of the aircraft that is likely to be provided to Ukraine and the corresponding terms of preparation have already been determined. Every day, Ukrainians prove that they're capable of resisting the overwhelming force of the enemy. All they need is a weapon. And as time has shown, the longer the West delays this, the longer the war in Europe will last.